Okay, I'm just gonna read my essay that I wrote. Okay, so my relationship with God. Ever since I was little, I went to church pretty often with my grandparents, and I was always taught to have a good relationship with God. My grandpa and grandma used to be on the worship team at my church. When I was little and I was going to church, I would always be bored, but I remember one day I was singing along, and I was probably about 6 years old at the time when I had my first encounter with Jesus. At that moment, I just started crying, and I didn't quite understand why. I just felt so much peace in that moment. A couple years ago, I wanted to get baptized. My grandma and grandpa were happy and said yes, of course. Well, that actually never happened. When COVID started, I was going to LPA in 3rd grade. I started going to a private Christian school in Detroit Lake. I started going there because of all the things that were happening in public schools. When I started going to that school, people were nice at first, but the longer I went there, the worse the bullying got. I always thought to myself, is this what Christian people act like? It was insane how much bullying had happened there. It was a school of about 50 kids, and it was pre-K through 12th grade. I only had about 5 people in my grade. We did have a Bible class, and our music class was all Christian music, but when I went to school there, we never went to church, and I think it was because of COVID, and I just randomly stopped going. 2 years later, I made the choice to start going back to LPA again. At first, everyone missed me, and then I started to have mean girls in my life again. Then, when I was in 6th grade, my grandma had mentioned there was a youth group at our church, and that I meant the age requirement to go. Oh my gosh. At first, I was nervous because I didn't know anybody, but after the first night, I went home so happy, and I felt almost fulfilled because I didn't know what I was missing. So my 6th grade year, I kept on going, met some new people, and started wanting to live my life better. In that summer, I wasn't going to church, I was cursing, hanging out with the wrong people, and I didn't realize that until I started 7th grade. Now at the beginning of 7th grade, I wasn't living the best life I could, and I knew I could do better. At this point in my life, God was telling me things and showing me in the right direction, and I decided to disobey him and do what I wanted to do. When the youth group for my 7th grade year started, I went again because I felt that I needed to. The first couple weeks I had my leader I had the previous year, then there was this new girl there. I wondered who she was. Later I found out that she was a new 7th grade leader and that we'd be splitting into 2 groups. I had my opinions about that because I was sad to leave my old leader but happy to have a fresh start with my new leader. Little did I know my new leader, Lauren Vesey, would change my life forever and my perspective on a lot of things. At first I really liked her and thought she was amazing. The more and more I got to know her, the more she became like family to me. I remember one night I went there and there were no other girls there except me and her. I took this as my opportunity to get closer to her. She asked me how school was going and to tell me more about herself. So I told her how school was going, about the mean girls, how I was in general, and how I wanted to get closer to God. I had also told her about a huge event in my life that happened and the whole story. Her jaw dropped, as anyone's would. I get so much anxiety when I talk about this story of mine and my best friends. I had never had anyone listen to me the way she does. I just started bawling my eyes out, and she came over to me and hugged me and said everything would be okay, and that she and her husband would be praying for me. I kept on staying late after and telling her how I had been feeling and what was happening at school, and just mainly how I was doing. I have still been going to youth group every Wednesday night and decided I really want to strengthen my relationship with God. The last few messages my pastor has given has really related to my life in some kind of way. I will always love Lauren, and I'm so thankful for everything she has done for me in every way possible. From now on, I know that God is always with me, and I know I can count on him even when things are tough.